So, what happens when that hidden desire, that private thought, finally breaks out of your mind and becomes a real world action? We're going to talk about that critical moment when a thought becomes a thing. Right here. This verse from James gives us the perfect picture for this whole thing. It uses this powerful metaphor, birth. See, desire conceives, and what it gives birth to is sin. This isn't some random accident, it's a process. And this is always where it begins. It doesn't start with a big explosion, but usually with just a whisper, a thought, a glance, a fleeting desire. At this stage, it's a secret, totally hidden in your heart, completely invisible to the outside world. But listen, you don't just trip and fall from a thought into an action. You actually walk there. It's step by step, excuse by excuse, every justification, every little rationalization you make. It's a deliberate choice that moves that thought closer and closer to becoming a reality. It's a conscious path you decide to take. And then that moment arrives. The line gets crossed. What was once only a desire is now a deed. The sin is born. It's out there. It's alive in the world, a tangible act that is going to have real consequences. Just look at the difference here. On one side, you have the promise, right? The sales pitch. It whispers, it's just for a moment. It tells you you're in control. It's an isolated thing, no one will know. But the reality, it couldn't be more different. Sin never stays small. Once it's born, it's alive. And it is never, ever satisfied. It always wants more. The second that sin is born, it just starts wrecking everything it touches. Trust gets shattered. Innocence is gone. Relationships, friendships, they get fractured. And then comes the internal storm, a flood of guilt with shame right on its heels. So here's the absolute bottom line. Sin always overpromises, and it always underdelivers. It offers this fleeting moment of what you think is pleasure or excitement, but in exchange, it completely steals your peace. The thrill is gone in an instant, but the consequences, that emptiness, man, that stuff lingers. If you want a textbook example of this whole destructive process, you don't have to look any further than King David. His whole catastrophe didn't start with some grand evil plan. No, it all started with just one single lingering glance at Bathsheba. And just look at this downward spiral. See how it escalates? That one glance led to adultery. Then, to hide the adultery, he turned to deceit. And when deceit wasn't enough, he jumped to murder. And after the murder came this massive cover-up. One single act spiraled into a total cascade of darkness. See, once sin is born, it just doesn't hide. It wants to multiply. One lie needs another lie to cover it. One indulgence opens the door for even more. That's just its nature. It's aggressive, and it's always looking to expand its territory. This proverb just nails that insatiable hunger, doesn't it? It says the grave is never full, and in the same way, the desire that gives birth to sin is never satisfied. It's like a bottomless pit that's always demanding to be filled. And eventually, what was conceived in the dark starts to show itself in the light. That internal rot begins to surface. It starts to change your habits. It sours your attitude. It poisons your relationships. And it creates this huge distance in your walk with God. People start to notice. They can tell something's off. And this all leads to a really dangerous state, numbness. The thing that used to make your conscience scream, that made you feel that sharp sting of guilt, now it just feels normal. It's almost convenient. The spiritual warning alarms have been shut off. And when that numbness sets in, it means you've officially moved past just committing an act. Now you're nurturing it. You are actively raising the very sin you gave birth to. You're feeding it, protecting it, and letting it grow stronger in your life. Okay, so this brings us to the critical crossroads. The sin is born. It's alive. It's growing. The question is, so what now? And here is the crucial truth you have to grab onto. The situation is serious for sure, but it is not hopeless. It's way harder now, so much harder than when it was just a thought. But it is not impossible. Sin is alive, but it does not have the right to live. From here, there are really only two paths forward. That's it. Path one is to hide it. You conceal it, you coddle it, you make excuses for it, and the result of that path is always, always destruction. Path two is to kill it. You drag it into the light by confessing it, and you turn your back on it completely by forsaking it. The result of that path? Mercy and life.
And let's be perfectly clear about this. There is no third option. You cannot manage sin. You can't negotiate with it. You can't tame it like some kind of pet. Its entire nature is to destroy you. The only effective response is to kill it. Period.
It's so important to understand the bigger strategy that's at play here. The enemy's goal was never just about that one sin. That single act, that was just the beachhead, the entry point. The real objective was, and still is, your total collapse. So, we end right here. The action's been taken, the sin is now a living, breathing reality in your life. And the only question left is the one that you and only you can answer. Will you let it live?